The rain had finally stopped, but the streets of Washington, D.C. were still slick and black, reflecting the cold, lonely glow of the streetlights. It was the kind of quiet that feels heavy, a silence that presses down on you. Deep in the heart of the city, there's a place locals avoid, an abandoned alley called Elm Street. A place where stories are whispered, but never spoken aloud, especially not after midnight. For months, Elm Street Alley had been a black hole, swallowing people whole. 3 victims vanished without a trace. No witnesses, no suspects, no clues. The only thing connecting these disappearances was a single, baffling piece of evidence. A mysterious phone. It would go live every single night at exactly 3 a.m., broadcasting a live stream of the empty, rain-soaked alley, a place where no one was supposed to be. The case landed on the desk of every detective in the precinct, but one by one, they all hit a dead end. That's when Officer Ryan stepped up. Ryan was the kind of cop you see in old movies, stubborn, a little reckless, but with a core of solid steel. He saw the fear in his colleagues' eyes and decided he had to be the one to walk into the darkness. His partner, a seasoned veteran named Dave, begged him not to go. "Ryan, some doors are meant to stay closed," he'd said, his voice laced with genuine concern. "This place. It's not right." But Ryan wouldn't listen. One night, with a new storm brewing on the horizon, he drove his patrol car to the mouth of Elm Street Alley. The air was thick with the smell of wet asphalt and decay. He killed the engine, plunging the street into an even deeper silence. The only sound was the distant hum of the city and the crackle of the police radio behind him. He stepped out, his hand resting on the grip of his service weapon. As he ventured deeper, the narrow walls of the alley seemed to close in around him. The city noise faded away, replaced by something else. An eerie, sibilant whisper that seemed to come from the very bricks themselves. It slithered through the air, just on the edge of hearing, impossible to pinpoint. Ryan tried to dismiss it as the wind, but he knew better. This was something else. He swept his flashlight beam across the grimy walls, the beam cutting a sharp cone through the oppressive dark. Then he saw it, a faint trail of dark droplets on the cracked pavement. They were small, almost black in the low light, but he knew what they were. Blood. The drops led him further down the alley, twisting around overflowing dumpsters and piles of forgotten trash. His heart hammered against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the suffocating quiet. The trail ended at a boarded-up storefront. The faded sign above read The Book Nook, an old, forgotten bookstore. Chill colder than the night air snaked its way down Ryan's spine. He remembered the case file. The last missing person, a young woman named Emma, had worked here. He tested the door. The wood was warped and swollen from years of rain, but the lock was broken. With a groan of protesting hinges, the door swung inward, opening into a black void that smelled of dust, mold, and something else. Something sickly sweet and vaguely metallic, the scent of something that was once alive. Ryan stepped inside, his flashlight beam dancing across mountains of decaying books and furniture draped in dusty white sheets, like pale ghosts in the gloom. The air was thick and heavy, hard to breathe, and then his light fell upon it. Lying in the center of the floor, stark against the dusty floorboards, was a smartphone. Its screen was on. He knelt beside it, his breath catching in his throat. The phone was recording, streaming a live view of the very same alley he had just walked through. He could see the wet ground, the flickering streetlight at the far end, and a figure. A man in a police uniform, his back to the camera. It was him. He was watching a live feed of himself from just moments ago. His blood ran cold. But that wasn't the most terrifying part. Behind the figure on the screen behind him, something moved. A tall, slender shadow detached itself from the deeper darkness of a doorway. It was unnaturally thin, its limbs long and disjointed. Heart pounding like a jackhammer, Ryan spun around, flashlight beam cutting wildly through the empty space behind him. There was nothing there, just dust motes dancing in the light. His own frantic breathing was the only sound. He forced himself to look back at the phone. His hand trembled. The shadow on the screen was closer now. It wasn't in the doorway anymore. It was right behind the image of him, its formless head peering over his shoulder as if curious. Silent, featureless observer. Before Ryan could even scream, before he could process the impossible sight, the lights in the bookstore flickered violently. The phone screen went black. The radio on his belt crackled one last time, a dispatcher's voice, cut off mid-word. Then, silence. Complete and total. Officer Ryan was never seen again. His car was found at the entrance to the alley, its doors unlocked, the radio still tuned to the police frequency. But of Ryan, there was no sign. He had become the fourth victim of Elm Street Alley. A year passed. The alley was sealed off with police tape and concrete barriers, a permanent scar on the city map. Then, a group of urban explorers, drawn by the grim legends, managed to find a way into the old bookstore. And there, in the exact same spot, they found a phone. It was Officer Ryan's. Miraculously, its battery was still full. And as they watched, the clock on the screen hit 3 o'clock a.m. The phone turned on by itself. It began to stream. The same alley, the same eerie silence. But now, sometimes if you listened closely, you could hear something new carried on the digital wind. Faint, desperate whisper, barely audible but unmistakable. Help me. No one knows for sure what haunts that alley. Some say it's the ghost of Emma, the first victim, forever trapped in replaying her final moments. Others whisper of something far older and darker, a predator that feeds on those who dig too deep for the truth. To this day, Elm Street Alley remains a forbidden zone. Late at night, locals swear they can still see a faint, flickering light in the window of the old bookstore like a lonely candle burning in a tomb. So, a word of advice. If you ever find yourself in Washington, D.C., and the clock strikes 3 a.m., maybe just put your phone away. You never know who or what might be watching you through the screen. Thanks for joining me in the shadows tonight. If you enjoy stories that keep you up at night, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Stay safe out there and check your locks.